Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Margaret Phanes, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure. To all our followers, she's a digital artist and she lives in California. More about her art. So thank you for being here again.
Thank you for having me, Claudia.
You're welcome. You began your digital visual meditation in 1989. What drew you to explore a light-based medium at that time?
So I had been a marriage and family therapist with a specialty in art therapy. I had made a career transition to be in marketing communications and desktop publishing. So I had this background in art, in painting and collage. I was also doing some teaching of digital media. And I saw that there was like two separate worlds. Digital media was pretty much for marketing products. And artists were not really, other than some graphic artists, of course, because they worked in these companies, but traditional media artists didn't really know about it or hadn't been taught how to use those tools. So I was in the position of seeing that my paintings and collage had graphic elements that could be translated to digital media. And I was also studying a discipline of Agni Yoga, a light fire meditation discipline. So I was between many worlds, if you can see that. I was between the traditional media world. I was involved in consciousness discipline, and I saw the possibility. But then, of course, I had to teach myself. Luckily, I was in marketing communication, so I had access to a computer. But it was quite and I think you could talk to other people of my age that saw this change coming into photography. It was a dramatic time, and artists had to, in some ways, make a decision. Were they going to remain traditional or were they going to move into digital media? I chose to, and that's why.
Wow, yes. It was a dramatic change, yes.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
yes. Now, to say just a little more about that, however, it was dramatic. But when you look at your work in terms of the forms,
Mhm.
yes, you're creating it in a certain way in traditional media, but the forms, whether they're digital or traditional, there's a commonality. So that's where you could see how it could work.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Thank you, Margaret. So could you tell us a little bit more about how did your background in Agni yoga and integral yoga influence your creativity and meditative practice?
That's a very, I think it's really a nice opportunity for someone to talk about their inspiration, their experience of healing or their experience of energy and light in meditation. I had been by that time meditating with a light fire yoga for many, many years. And it had influenced my traditional work. So it's only natural. And also the fact that this light-based medium is just so interesting to talk about inner light, and light that is emitted behind pixels. And somehow there's a relationship there. So I can say that just a little bit about the Agni Yoga part of it. I would say that it's a healing meditation, working with the descent of light, working with light in different centers of the body, different frequencies. And it was a very formal training. So there was a lot of lessons, listening to tapes, doing assisting in classes that were being taught at different colleges. So it was very immersive. And I'll say a little more about integral yoga in a minute. But so in the beginning, the themes of my work were very much influenced. And I was thinking about, I've used the term visual meditation, right? So there's two things going on. Not only are you experiencing the inspirational aspect of an inner experience, but working on manifesting that experience in a medium is also meditative, right? So I think it's nice for folks to know about that. And I think many artists relate that quality of that their work is meditative. And when it's meditative, it's also inspirational, right? So it's kind of a flow between your inspiration and your inner experience, and you're manifesting that. And then it's like it can be a feedback loop.
Okay, thank you. You want to continue more with the integral yoga or after?
Yes. So I would say we were talking about when I started doing this visual meditation medium in 1989, and I had been working with Agni Yoga since maybe 1973. So as my career progressed in marketing communications and teaching digital media, I began my studies in 1991 in integral yoga. I was able to join a very comprehensive study group and meditation group in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And I was in that group for about 10 years. And at that time, studied most of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's major works. And of course, they're the founders of integral yoga. So the connection between Agni Yoga and integral yoga is they both have the descent of consciousness as a way of transforming, of purification, and of healing. But integral yoga has a different way of working with the soul, or the psychic being, as it's called in integral yoga, which is a center behind the heart that can be a radiating, purifying fire force from behind the heart, and also a guidance. So between the time of working with Agni Yoga and integral yoga, there is an amplification of those, the descent, and then adding this other practice of experiencing this soul Agni or soul fire. And I'll just say one other thing. Integral yoga has a larger, more vast material. It's a yoga of works, of devotion, of self-perfection, and of knowledge. So it's many practices and study comprise the work with integral yoga. And that, of course, that influenced my visual work dramatically.
Okay. Thank you. This is really deep to understand, but I hope the public can get connected with these words. And if you are not really connected with all this terminology or integral yoga or whatever Margaret is describing, you always can contact her, yes,
Certainly.
in her email,
Yes.
if you are interested about this work or how to combine it with your art or with your studies. I mean, you are always welcome to ask, yes, or to.
Absolutely. Or as when sometimes there's initial uh, experience or exposure that is confusing, or it seems in opposition to one's beliefs,
Exactly.
um, that that can polarize someone or threaten them or make them uncomfortable. Um, what I can say is that if I was talking to someone directly who came from a what I would consider a more traditional religious belief structure, Catholicism, for example, I would say, well, yoga, the definition is the union with the divine, or
Beautiful.
if you want to call it God. It's the process, right, of
Beautiful.
becoming one with
Mhm.
the divine. That is not in opposition
Mhm.
with any traditional Christian or Catholic dogma that I'm aware of. Now, uh, what I'm encouraged about is there are many, many religions that are open to meditation, right? That if meditation is uh, expressed, and there are many kinds, by the way, but I'm talking about experiencing oneness or experiencing divine love or experiencing a connection to one's soul. Again, I don't think that that would be in opposition. And the other thing is, and we may talk about this a little later, is someone can look at a piece of artwork that's created from a different tradition, and they may get the feeling that connects them to their own spiritual feelings or spiritual understanding. And that's all to the good. That's what we're hoping for.
Thank you. Yes.